What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 89. And today we're going to be talking about the week that was in week 18. And this will be part one of our two-part review. Coming with us tonight, first from Denver, Colorado, the man who undertook all of the research for this week as I was in Cincinnati on vacation. Jason Ashby, thank you so much for taking all 8 matchups. Was it a bit of a headache for you?
Not at all, my friend. Happy to do it. Glad you got some vacay and visit the Great American Small Park. And yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun to see all 8 matchups, especially as we're getting down to the wire here of the season with only 4 weeks left. The playoff picture is starting to come into focus, so it was actually kind of fun to see how everybody's doing as we get towards the end of the season here. So happy to do it. Happy to do it.
You say the playoff picture is coming into focus, sir. I sit currently as the number 6 team, but my co-host here, my roommate here, my best friend, the 3-time champion, and he is the new leader in the clubhouse, Ben Nisman. Benny, you got a 2.5 game lead at this point in the season. How are you feeling?
Feel very grateful, to be honest, because it's now we've seen some crazy things happen already, so it's silly for us to predict anything, but it's feeling like at least a playoff spot now is imminent, Joe. A lot would have to go wrong, and because of scheduling, it's feeling like this is the third year in a row for me, 4 and 5 years, and I feel blessed. And not only that, I feel blessed just to be in this league. And I should say that Jason did an amazing job filling in for you and kept that seat warm. So it's been exciting. This week, it wasn't really a lot of surprises. All of the favorites basically took care of beeswax here. So we got a lot to talk about here because even though that happened, there was still a lot of intriguing stuff that happened between the lines. So, Joe, as always, now taking over once again, please set the table, lead it off, my friend.
Let's get going, boys. It is the playoff stretch. We have 4 weeks to go. We have 11 teams over 500 pushing for the playoffs. Only 6 will make it. We're going to find out who is going to get their heart broken. Jason, what is our first matchup this week, my friend?
Let's talk about the one that I think was kind of the slugger, the juggernaut going into the week. Mike Haber and Henry Collins. This was going in. This was a big matchup because Mike was in first, Henry was in third. And it was the rookie taking down Mike Haber 11-8, which was, I think, pretty surprising. Henry's been red hot, but we know what Haber is capable of, and just this week he couldn't pull it out.
It certainly looks like Henry put himself in a great spot here to make the playoffs at this point. These guys are now tied 2.5 games back of Ben Nisman for the number 1 spot right now. And the thing about it is, I'm sure both of these guys would love to have a bye. I'm sure Ben would love to have the bye. Bobby Russo is in the hunt there. So is Josh Haber. So it's no shoe in on who gets the bye this year, but I think it's more important than ever before.
Yeah, I have to agree, Joe.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's critical. I mean, that's basically what I'm striving for at this point, and I'm in the driver's seat as far as being able to just sort out the team and get it ready for the postseason. But if I do that, I'm putting myself at a detriment. Like I have to play to win every day at this point. Like because if I don't seal up a bye, I'm in trouble. If it's third place and I'm playing you, or I'm playing Frank, or I'm playing Costas, or if I'm in fourth place and I end up playing Bobby or Josh, or you, or Frank, or Costas, or James McCloskey. I mean, regardless, it's not looking pretty to have a first round matchup to end up automatically in the semifinal into the final four, especially for the third year in a row for me. That it would just be so special. So yeah, it's a tough spot as far as a roster crunch, and you have to kind of decide who's going to stay on this team, who am I going to cut and let go into the waiver wire abyss so that somebody else takes that guy and runs away with that guy for the rest of the season. But at some point, decisions are going to have to be made, not just by me, but for the rest of the league that now know that every day to win every day is so critical that cuts were going to have to be made because every stat at this point is so important.
No doubt. Jason, let's talk about this one that ends 11-8 in Henry's favor. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so it was 10-10 coming into Sunday. Just a quick look at what happened on Sunday. Mike was leading in runs. Henry tied that up. Henry was leading in walks, and Mike tied that one. Mike was leading in batting average, and Henry flipped that. Saves were tied, and Henry won that one. So Sunday was a bit crazy, considering the fact that it was 10-10 and it only ended up being 8. A lot of stuff happened on Sunday. Close categories. Henry wins by 1 error, 1 win, and 2 saves. Mike wins by 4 doubles and 4 RBIs is the closest thing that I got. Otherwise, everything was pretty much in hand of what he won. And they tied in runs and walks. For Henry on his bench, he goes 9 for 30.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 328.
no, it's going to be a nice round number. It's going to be like 300.
It's just 300.
Yeah.
Yep. It's 300. 5 runs, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. The runs, I mean, it was tied, so you just needed one of those to get that. There was nothing really egregious, nothing really that really said, oh, you got to play this guy. He had a 2-homer game, or a homer game from Jurickson Profar on the bench that would have done some damage. The 6 RBIs, he needed 4 of those to tie, 1 walk to win. But like these were tough to get in. Like there was nothing that was like super like incredible. So
I wonder if Henry
it was
has
just one
one
of those.
of those feelings though, where, oh man, if I'd have just played this guy, like that's the. I know individually when you're running a team and seeing things day to day that we aren't. That's the one thing where, oh man, if I had just gotten that guy for that walk instead of playing this dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I definitely get the feeling, where on a whole, it doesn't really make a difference, but day by day, you're like, oh man, how did I not get that guy in? And yeah, absolutely. He also did leave. He left a bad relief appearance from Aaron Loop on the bench, and he left a horrible start from Jameson Taillon on Sunday on the bench. Both of those worked out perfectly, so good job there.
Mm-hmm.
He did use 9 ads this week. Dropped Xavier Curry for Josh Sabors.
Sure.
Gave him an inning, a win, a strikeout, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. Drops Jesse Schultens for Zach Geloff, 1 for 4 with a double and 3 strikeouts. Drops Jay Jackson for Tyler Kinley, an inning, 3 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. Drops that guy for Jake Irvin, 6 2/3, 2 homers, 6 strikeouts, 270 and a 105 against Oakland.
Not bad.
Jake Bowers for Pierce Johnson, an inning, 2 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. And then Sunday happened.
Okay.
He dropped Seabours, Irvin, Aaron Loop, Tommy Kahnle, and Jameson Taillon. And he picks up Dylan Floro, Kendall Graveman, Spencer Torkelson, and Jordan Westberg, and then Lamont Wade after the games ended. Graveman was the only one that really did much. Gave him an inning and a third, a walk, a strikeout, nothing earned, in 0.75 in a relief appearance. Nobody else really did anything. Torkelson gave him a run and an RBI, and Westberg gave him a double. But I guess
the Torkelson run ties that category.
Yeah. So I mean that played pretty huge actually. Yeah. But so that's it. 9 ads, 3 hitters, 1 starter, and 5 relievers. His key players this week, we're going to give the MVP to his namesake, Kyle Tucker, a 333 with a 429, 5 runs, a double, 3 homers, 11 big RBIs, 1 steal, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is going to be Jerickson Profar, 063 with 4 strikeouts and an error. There was a day, I think it was on Wednesday, where he did leave a home run on the bench. So if he had just started him then, this would have been a better week. But alas, he did not. For his pitching this week, the Cy Young I'm giving to Devin Williams. 4 innings, a win, and a save, a walk, 8 strikeouts, nothing earned, an 050 whip, and 4 relief appearances. And the Cy Young is Jesus Luzardo. 3 1/3, a loss, 2 bombs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 1890, and a 3 whip.
He's been good this year, hasn't he?
I feel like he's been
391 over 24 starts. I'll take that.
The last 3 though have been rough. Like 771, 675, and then this 1890. The last 3 have been pretty bad.
133 innings at this point, and last year he only threw 100 innings. So you'd think he might be at the point where the Marlins are going to start to back him off. It could be only another couple of starts before they go, okay, we're not in the hunt anymore. Jesus Luzardo has a phantom back injury and is done for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, especially if they continue to slide down the standings.
Exactly, right. And that would really hurt Henry here because after Cole and Morton, Zach Eflin has been kind of a question mark lately. Luzardo has been bad, and then it's Yusei Kikuchi.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Marlins are still in this race, and they won again today. They got a series win over the Yankees. They've won 3 in a row. It doesn't seem like they're going anywhere. So they made that trade for Josh Bell at the deadline because they were buying. They weren't selling. So until they're out of it, they're going to grind it out, and they're very much in this race.
No doubt. Now, the question of whether or not they have Luzardo long, like for the rest of this season, I'm only speculating. I haven't said anything to that effect, but this is the kind of organization I would expect that kind of thing from. Jason, let's take a look at Mike Haber's team this week.
Yes, sir. So on his bench, another nice easy one, 11 for 33.
Awesome.
3, 3, 3, 3, 3 repeating.
3s forever. 1 run, which that 1 run would have won the category. 3 doubles, a triple, a homer, 6 RBIs, 3 walks. Just needed 1 of those. 7 strikeouts and an error. The one run came on Sunday. A second run. So what can you do? He also both of them had the Cubs and the Blue Jay starter going on Sunday, and they both benched them. Hyunjin Ryu, 5 innings, a win, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, nothing earned, and 080 against the Cubs. So that game didn't matter for either of them, which was kind of funny. Strangely enough, and I'd love to hear from Mike because he only made 1 ad, and the 1 ad was Bo Brisky. The guy got it. He got a 2-inning save, but Mike picked him up after the game started, so he didn't get credit for that. What he did get credit for was an inning and a third, a homer, 675, and a 3 over another relief appearance. So, and that was it. He dropped J.P. Crawford for that guy and dropped Leody Taveras on Sunday. That was it. So yeah, I'm not sure, if that was a strategy or if he just couldn't get an ad in, but. For his key players, we're gonna highlight Marcell Ozuna here, mostly because of the doubles and the RBIs. So he only hit 257 with a 278, but 3 runs, 4 doubles, and 7 RBIs is what really played here, because he won those 2 categories, especially the doubles by the 4. So those are pretty key. And Going to give the least valuable hitter to the aforementioned Leody Taveras, who is no longer on the team. 091 with an 083, a triple, but it didn't really matter for that. 2 RBIs, 4 strikeouts. The Cy Young is going to be his namesake. 14 innings, wins, 11 strikeouts, a 129 and 193. Cy Young is going to be Fairbanks. An inning and 2/3. He did get a save. He also gave up a homer, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 21-60 and a 240 over 2 appearances.
These guys are deep in the hunt here. They're both fighting for a bye. I am curious as to how you feel about the one ad this week, Benji.
He's been kind of quiet on the ads for the most part. Someone that basically goes to at least 10. It might just be that he doesn't really want to futz with the team that much, that this is basically the group that he wants to go to war with. He's set up to make the playoffs again. His schedule isn't too brutal. I mean, it's challenging, sure, but I think without looking at it too much, I think it's you, and then it's Adam, and then I guess I'm not sure the third one would be, but then I know he finishes with McCloskey. But in general,
It's you.
Yeah, I think it is
right.
me.
Yeah, it is me. Yeah, I mean, that looks like it's probably
Yeah.
first or second place when all is said and done. So he doesn't really need to. He's going to the playoffs more than likely. I don't want to predict anything, and we'll get into the reason why later. But I think it's mostly probably because he likes this group and he doesn't want to see them go on another team, someone that he might end up playing against later on.
Mm-hmm. The offense is pretty stacked when we talk about Mike Haber. We have all season Vlad, Semien, Mullins, Harper, all of these names. I just wonder if it has all that it needs to close this thing out, because when we talk about Mike Haber, we're not talking about a playoff berth. We're not even really talking about a bye. This is the type of guy who's at championship or bust level right now. It's been too many years since he won one, and he's had way too many opportunities fall apart in the playoffs. So what I do want to see from him this year is put that name on that trophy. That's going to be fantastic. Now, as for Henry made that late trade for MJ Melendez and has been carrying quite a large offensive team here for the last couple of weeks. Jason, I know that you saw a couple of pieces here. I certainly really like the Zach Geloff ad and the Jordan Westberg ad, a couple of young rookies for some teams that here in September are going to give these kids some push. Do you see enough out of this to make a deep run in the playoffs offensively?
I think so. I mean, with Kyle Tucker, George Springer, I talked to Ben about this last week. Springer went through his slump. If you assume the fact that he's due for one slump, he's done with it. So you're gonna get 6 weeks of strong George Springer. Kyle Tucker is great. I like this team. Robert is hurt again, so like that's a concern because this guy is always hurt. But I like the pitching staff. We talked about Luzardo, but like Devin Williams and Duran in that bullpen, I think it's set up pretty nicely here. I do think so. And Henry has on the tear, so with this group, so I think he's in a good spot.
Benji, we've talked in years past about other teams that maybe peaked too early. Do you have any concerns that Henry Collins may have peaked too early this season, or is this a team that will go deep into the playoffs?
If he ends up getting first or second place, he ends up getting the bye, I absolutely think he can go home with the trophy. And he's been not only having the roster execute, but he's made great decisions. You look at Sunday, he leaves just one man on the bench that he had to, Lamont Wade. That was the worst guy on his team that day. That was the 0 for 4. If he flips that in with anybody else, then it's a different story. but he's been having some insanely hot Sundays. And I looked early when he was like 11 for 18 to start the day. And it's like, wait, he's 4 hits out of Zach Geloff and 4 out of Andres Jimenez. Like, get all the way the fuck out of the bigs right now. Like, that's incredible. And everybody contributes here. He fills up the stat line. He got a stolen base. He's got a couple doubles on the day. He's got 5 runs. He's got 3 dingers. And it seemed like every day he was dropping at least a couple of bombs. And yeah, even though this was a matchup where Henry had a really strong lead most of the week, and then of course Mike Haber does what he normally does. He found a way to chip away and put it to a 10-10 tie into Saturday. It could have gone either way, and Henry's team delivered more on Sunday, and that was the difference. So the fact that he basically had him in check the entire week, Mike Haber, he had in check the entire week and ended up pulling it out on Sunday. This tells me Henry can beat any team. If he has to play a first round matchup, look, I think you and I know, Joe, and Jason, to an extent also from 2019, the playoffs is a different animal. It's a different type of skill. It's a different type of management that he does not necessarily have that kind of experience. But Henry has already showed us every week he learns something new. He puts something new to the table, and he might just adapt quickly. So I give him a ton of credit here. He's in incredible position to make the playoffs. And as far as Mike Haber, that's a guy that, like you said, Joe, you're right. He's at this point where the expectations are very high. And if he doesn't win a championship, he's got to go to the finals at least because
Again.
he's had a really, really tough record in the playoffs. And a lot of that is just bad luck. But I know when it comes to the actual time where he has to be, like he's in that matchup, that's when a lot of ads are going to start to take place. And that's when he's going to start to get aggressive when he needs to. That's not at this point. It's not next week. It's not the week after. It's probably second to last week and playoffs, and then it's done ho. So we'll see what happens here. But bravo to both of these managers for putting on a show for us because this was amazing to watch. And it was just I texted Henry on Saturday and been like, this guy is just really tough to beat, because I saw him just shrink the gap just like that, like one day. And you're not going to blow him out. Like it looks like it was going to be a blowout, and it wasn't. Mike Haber did exactly what he had to do to at least play for par.
Exactly. Jason, let us move on. What is our next matchup here?
Sir, that's going to be your match, friend, and that's going to be a big 16-3 victory over Matt Loosee. And this is what we've been talking about. This is what you got to do. A team like Matt Loosee is squash the hell out of him, and you did just that with a big whooping of 63. And I said, tells you in sixth place, just puts you right there in that playoff spot. So you must be feeling pretty good, I would imagine.
This is exactly what I needed. It undid the Frank loss earlier this season. I'm right back in the playoff hunt. And Ben, you called it. I give you all the credit in the world for seeing the forest through the trees, shall we say. And here comes this team. Mm-hmm.
It's just I was planning on. I'm sorry, Jason. I was planning on getting into this anyway. So I just wanted to say, Joe, like, shame on you. Shame on you for calling it in week 11. How many times I had to hear, so Ben, let's just hear you say it. I'm not making the playoffs this year. So Ben, my playoff chances are just about dead, aren't they? Hey, you said it on the show. You said it on that porch over there when Henry had his big win. And I said, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, this is ridiculous. To make this call, you should be ashamed of yourself because you know the bigs. You know yourself. You knew the schedule. Like, you know that one week can play you back in. There was so much time left, and I felt like it's just so easy to be like, "Hey, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out." And then if something crazy happens, look, I'm surprised. There it is. That's the bigs. But I had no doubt in my mind. Like, and we can go back, and other people can go back and listen to these shows where I insisted, like, no, like, if anyone's gonna get back in it, it would be you. So it needed to be said because it's just not shocking at all, you know? And of course, that doesn't mean you're definitely in. You've got a big hill to climb here. You've got a very tough schedule in the next 3 weeks. Christian at the end is nice to have, but of course, like, this is going to be what makes or breaks your season. And you do have a lot of guys that are trying to get to that last spot, if not even if a Josh Haber or a Bobby or a Henry or Mike or myself fall out, like, there's another spot available, but it's right there for the taking, man, and it should be no shock.
I'm shocked that I'm on a 7 or 8 week winning streak at this point that has really catapulted me up to the top. But I will at least concede that when it comes to the bigs, anything's possible, and that I've shown that I'm able to put together a win streak like this. And I'm certainly happy to do it. Jason, let's dive into this thing. What happened on the benches?
Yeah, so, Sunday, the only thing that changed on Sunday, you flipped relief appearances, and that gave you an even bigger win. Nothing else changed. The close categories, you won by 3 doubles, 2 errors, a win, and the relief. Matt won by the triple, and you guys tied in homers and steals. On your bench, my friend, you go 6 for 39.
Well, that's not bad.
It was, well, it's very good. I don't know, 214.
It's going to be another round number again because they're both multiples of 3. It's 3 for 13. Oh, that's ugly. That's ugly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll go like 234. What is it, Jason? Did we lose?
Wrong. It's 154.
154.
154.
Damn. All right.
It's 154.
Did we lose Jason?
Oh, there he is. I think he's back now.
Frozen in time.
No, I think we're good. What's on the bench?
Frozen. All right. All right. So 154. It's 154. 154 is your batting average on the bench. It was a fantastic finishing. 3 runs, 2 doubles, 1 homer, 4 RBIs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. The 1 homer, it was Max Muncy on Thursday. Instead of Brady's, I guess you could have switch. That would have won you the homers, but otherwise, it was just a fantastic benching.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say on Sunday, Bryan Reynolds hit me 2 home runs in the nightcap of a doubleheader in order to tie that category, and that's one that I was just like, okay.
Yeah, no, I think he hit one to like shut him down, like in the first game. Like, he hit one in both games.
Either way, it was 2 homers in a day in order to tie that off, and one of them, the second one was like in the 8th inning of the second game. It was just put him away.
Yeah.
Looking at your ads, you did use all 12. Dropped Rafael Montero for Wandy Peralta, an inning and 2/3, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and 060 whip. And a relief appearance, dropped Fujinami for Clark Schmidt, 5 1/3, a win, a homer, a walk, 7 strikeouts, a 169 and 094 against the White Sox. Dropped Scott McGuff for Mike Clevenger, 6 innings, a win, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 150 and a 1 against the Yankees. Dropped Bryce Wilson for Adrian Hauser, 5 innings, a bomb, a walk, 5 strikeouts, 720 and a 120 against the Rockies. Dropped Hauser for Dylan Lee, who was on the IL, and then you dropped him later, so he was a waste. Dropped Mike Clevenger for Brennan Bernardino, give you 2 2/3 of an inning, a homer, strikeout, 13, 15, and 150 in a relief appearance. You dropped Lee for Joe Kelly, who also never appeared, and he's on the IL. Dropped Mickey Moniak for Sal Frelick. That was a waiver thing he went for 4. Then Sunday, for Lucas Sims, 2 walks, 27. Dropped an inning, 2 strikeouts, nothing earned in a 1 whip in appearance. For walk, 50 whip in appearance, and then Schmidt for Matthew Lieber for next week. Also, that's 1 of 4 starters, 7 relievers.
So I do want to dive into a couple of things here. You broke up a little bit, Jason, but what I do want to dive into here is that on the Sunday, I grabbed 3 relievers, all in that doubleheader. It was Holderman, Sims, and Cruz. All 3 of them got in, and that was the difference in the relief appearances. Clark Schmidt was a really nice stream, and I didn't quite understand why he wasn't rostered in the bigs. It just feels like that's the type of guy who should be, especially the 2 or 3 starter on the Yankees. I feel like that's the type of guy who is rostered. So when I saw him out there against the White Sox, loved the stream, dropped him on Sunday because his start was now in Atlanta against the Braves. And, well, how's that going right now? That doesn't appear to be going too well. Otherwise, I thought I played about as flawlessly as I could. I had to get to the 12th move, so I had to drop Clark Schmidt for Matthew Liebertor because I have to get to 12 every week. I must.
Why?
To prove a point.
What's the point?
We don't need 12 moves.
Yeah. But if we don't need them, why do you use them?
Because they're there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Key players, Jason.
Willpower. Key players. All right. Your MVP, sir, is Jose Altuve. A 520 with a 613 on base, 9 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 6 RBIs, a steal, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts. What a week. The least valuable hitter is going to be Gunnar Henderson, an 059 with a 105, just a run, an RBI, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. The Cy Youngs are going to be Pablo Lopez and Freddie Peralta because they both had very similar lines. Pablo gave you 13 innings, 2 wins, 7.
Oof. So Pablo and Peralta are the Cy Youngs. Just nasty this week. Very broken, Jason, but I did catch most of that there. Freddie Peralta and okay, guys. So we had some technical difficulties with Jason. We're going to carry on without him here, but I thank you guys for toughing it out with us through that difficult time. We were talking about my Cy Young and my Cy Yuck this week. The Cy Youngs, Pablo Lopez and Freddie Peralta, 13 innings apiece, 2 wins apiece. Lopez, 1 walk, 15 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 0.77. Peralta, a homer, 3 walks, 19 strikeouts, an 0.69 and 0.62. That is a hell of a duo to be going after that much in the bigs here. Now, as for my Cy Yuck, the guy I traded for, Spencer Strider, 9 2/3, a win, a loss, 7 walks, 9 strikeouts, a 5.59 and a 1.55. Not really what I want. First opportunity to get this guy rolling, but it certainly paid off regardless. For Matt Loosee on his bench this week, Benjamin, and you're going to have to unmute for me. It's going to be a nice, easy 3 for 12. There it is.
Did that work?
Yes, it did. I can.
Say it again. Sorry, because
yeah, it's a nice, easy 3 for 12 for you, buddy.
Oh, good. All right, great. 250.
Yeah, with 2 runs, a bomb, an RBI, and 3 strikeouts. The bomb comes on Saturday. It was Justin Turner on the bench and Bryan De La Cruz in the lineup. He could have shuffled that up and gotten it taken care of. Only one move this week. He drops Jason Hayward and picks up Dylan Moore 1-for-1 with an RBI. It's the only move he used. His key players this week was, I don't know, some dude named Monasterio was the MVP. 360 with a 407, 5 runs, a double, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Worthy. But who the hell is he? Do you know who he is?
No, I do not.
Okay, cool. His least valuable hitter is Dylan Moore, 222 with a 222, 2 errors, 4 strikeouts, an RBI, and a double. The Cy Young annoyed the hell out of me because of Tulio Urias. I had this guy as my number 2 overall starting pitcher coming into this season, and this is how he does me. 13 innings, 2 wins, a homer, a walk, 17 strikeouts, a 208, and an 069. I literally needed a line like that from either Pablo or Freddie Peralta just to negate that. The Cy Yuck is going to be Michael Kopech, who has fallen off a cliff. 4 1/3, a bomb, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, an 831 and a 231. This guy had a really nice May and June, but a 458 on the season with a 146, not exactly what you're looking for. Benji, when it comes to Matt Loosee, is he going to win a matchup the rest of this season?
Not looking like it based on his schedule, but anything is possible. I appreciate that there was at least a little bit of shuffling with the lineup and the rotation, though on Sunday I felt like it didn't make a lot of sense to just play pitchers, and I think that's kind of just what he's doing. It's like, oh, I don't need to check what the score is and what I can win, like I lose, just play the pitchers, and I think that's just what we're getting from this guy at this point, unfortunately. But I appreciate that there was some attempt, uh, Hendricks still on the team doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I noticed that he made ads today, but that guy wasn't one of the guys dropped. But I digress. It's a win that you needed. I think it's exactly the type of score that you needed to win by. And you see Matt Loosee now over 100 stats under 500, over 100. I don't even remember that ever happening. It may have, but this has the very good possibility of being the worst fantasy baseball team we've ever had in the bigs as far as record goes, which is a damn shame. It's the second year in a row in last place. That's rough, but looking at the other side, Joe, you're in a strong position here. Doesn't surprise me at all. Of course, you got a lot of work to do. I'm sure the team is going to keep on getting moved around a lot as the 12 ads are going to get used. And every stat is going to become more and more critical trying to get to this final playoff spot. So I give you a lot of credit. The fact that you needed a win like this, you couldn't really survive necessarily with an 11-6, and anything less than a double up would have been kind of rough to do. So you did exactly what you were.
Even late in the week, it was 12-6, and I'm thinking this isn't big enough. Like, it just isn't. And it just wouldn't have been.
Right, but it was only Thursday or Friday at that point, and that's how the bigs goes. You don't play the bigs for 4 days or 5 days or even 6 days. You play a whole damn matchup. So the fact that you were down by relief appearances, I would have bet both kidneys that you were going to win that stat by the end of the week. It didn't surprise me at all. And of course you did need the Diamondbacks to turn it around to get Seawald into the game, sure, but it really didn't surprise me. How many relief appearances did you win by?
Just
one. That one. Yeah, you needed that
just
turnaround. Really affected me that happened, by the way, and we'll get into it more. But are you feeling good? Do you feel like you're sitting pretty? Where's the confidence level? Where do you expect yourself, as you've made many predictions in the past in our league this year? What say you now?
I've got a chance. We're in the 6th spot. We're going to try. I've been saying all along, I'm going to try my ass off to make the playoffs for the 10th straight season. I don't know if this is the year, but I was saying the same thing in 2021 when I took Mike Trout and it was ugly. And I said the same thing last year when it was when things were ugly early on. Anything can happen in this league. There are a ton of hungry managers, and the league is better if I'm not in. But y'all are going to have to make sure I'm not in now. There are 3 names that have a chance to spoil this season for me: Michael Haber, Jason Ashby, Bobby Russo. Each one of them get the opportunity to spoil my season. And the first one is Mike Haber. And I just kind of find it important that Mike is the first one to do this, because I can still recover if he does succeed in beating me and ending this winning streak. Am I confident I'm going to win? No, but I'm not scared of a loss. I'm not scared of not making the playoffs, and I'm not scared of what happens if I don't, because 9 straight is certainly plenty for me. All of that to be said, names like Frank Bucco, Costas Paragas, the guys that are chasing me, are also going to have to take care of business. They can't just rely on someone else to beat me here. You're going to have to put in the work too. So that's where I'm sitting at right now. I feel pretty good. I would say the confidence level's at about a 6.5, maybe a 7 to make the playoffs. But I'm not sold that this team is good enough to win a championship by any means. Anything can happen, however. This is one of those weeks where everything worked, and it worked against the right guy. Let's move on to the next matchup here, and this was one of the more interesting ones this week, Benjamin. This is going to be Josh Haber taking a very important 10-8 win over Adam Lowenstein. What'd you see here?
It was mostly in hand for Josh, and then Adam made it very, very interesting down the stretch on Saturday and Sunday. At one point, it was tied at 10-10, and Josh found a way to pull away, and it was amazing. It was critical. He starts getting nervous around this point if he ends up taking a loss. But he got a lot of help in that Sunday night game. It was interesting. They both had guys in that final game. Of course, Matt Olson and Riley, and yeah, it was quite a matchup. And I respect the fact that Adam has really grinded it out this entire season. And this isn't a brutal loss for him to be 9. He was 9 over going into this week. Now he's only 7 over, but still he's there. He's in it. He's in the discussion. He's in the conversation. But Josh, for him, this was arguably the most important one, because with all these other teams starting to get a lot closer to him, his schedule, Joe, right now is probably the most favorable of all the schedules. And that's why I think Josh Haber is going to the dance this year. And it's amazing. It's amazing what he's done this season. But if this ended up being like a 12-6 or 13-8 in favor of Adam, he's sweating out these last 4 weeks.
No doubt. No doubt. Josh has been on a little bit of a slide. We've seen him start to come down those standings, but I think he's going to end up stabilizing here. I'm with you. I think this is a playoff team, and we're going to see exactly how deep he can make his run this year. On Sunday, these guys slugged it out with each other. Josh led by the double, and Adam tied that. Josh led in average, and Adam flipped it. Josh led in strikeouts by a pitcher, and Adam got him by 1 there. And they tied in relief appearances on Sunday as well. Close categories this week. Josh wins by the triple, the stolen base, 2 errors, the win. 3 wins, a loss, and 3 walks. Adam wins by 2 home runs by a pitcher and the strikeout by a pitcher. They tied in doubles, saves, and relief appearances. For Josh on his bench this week, Benjamin, it is a 9 for 23.
They're going to say 27 and make my life easier, but no, it's not.
No, no more layups here.
No, and that's a really ugly average for Josh. Let me think. something like 362.
It's even worse. It's 391. With 3 runs, a double that would win the category, 2 homers that would tie the category, 5 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. And there was a Julian Merriweather relief appearance on the bench on what looks like Wednesday. Third of an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance on the bench. That ends up being the one that would have won that category for him. On that same day, Christian Encarnacion Strand has a home run on the bench. Bellinger and Lane Thomas are both 0 for 4, so that's the play to get the double and the home run in. At least get one closer on the home runs. For his moves this week, he dropped Dean Kramer for Kyle Hendricks, 5 innings, a homer, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 360 and a 140 at the Mets. He dropped Daniel Hudson for Julian Merriweather. Again, that relief appearance that was on the bench. He dropped Phil Maton for Adam Duvall, who was a golden sombrero boy on that day, 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. He dropped Duvall and Pierce Johnson for Danny Colombe, who was placed on the IL, so that sucks. He then dropped Luis Urias for Bobby Miller, 6 innings, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, nothing earned, a 133 whip at Arizona. He dropped Anthony Rizzo finally and picked up Nick Lodolo, who's on the IL. Dropped Julian Merriweather for Ryan Brazier, a third of an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. And added Pablo Reyes, 2 for 4 with a run and a double. He dropped Reyes for Angel Perdomo, who got him a clean relief appearance. Dropped Colombe for Palante, who didn't appear. Dropped Christian Encarnacion Strand for Chas McCormick, 1 for 4 with a run and a strikeout, and dropped Brazier for Dakota Hudson, who will pitch against Oakland this week. He used all 12, 3 hitters, 4 starters, and 5 relievers. His MVP this week is one of those names in that Braves lineup that's just so damn good this year. Austin Riley, 382 with a 425, 9 runs, 4 doubles, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a lone error. The least valuable hitter is Yordan Alvarez, 120 with a 214, 3 runs, 2 RBIs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The Cy Young, it hurts me to say this again, but it is Sandy Alcantara with a complete game win, 10 strikeouts, 1 ERA, and an 0.78 whip with 2 walks, with a shout out to Logan Webb's 14 and a third with a 1.26. The Cy Young, Felix Bautista, 12.27 ERA, 2.45 whip over 3 relief appearances, a win, a loss, and a save. Hooray. For Adam on his bench this week, Benjamin, it is a 13 for 60.
Oh, God. 237.
217. 2 runs, 3 doubles. That would have won the category. A homer, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, 20 strikeouts, and 2 errors on the bench. Well done getting all of that garbage out of your lineup, though. That was very, very nice. Doubles would have come anywhere on there was one on Sunday from Thyroid Estrada. There was one from, is that a Ledmus Diaz maybe? I don't know. Oh, Elias Diaz home run, but tough to get in on what looks like Tuesday. This week, he dropped Lamont Wade for Kerry Carpenter, 2 for 3 with a run. Dropped Brendan Marsh for Kyle Gibson, who was a waiver claim, 5 and a third, a loss, 3 bombs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 15-19 and a 263 at Seattle for a waiver claim. Yikes. He dropped John Birdie for Jack Sawinski, 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Dropped Stephen Okert for Chris Stratton, 3 innings, a walk, a strikeout, nothing earned, and an 0.67. And finally dropped Gibson for Bryce Miller, 5 2/3, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 1.59 and a 1.24 against Baltimore. 5 ads used, 2 hitters, 2 starters, and a reliever. The MVP this week is the other side of that lefty-righty combo. It's Matt Olson in the Braves lineup. 400 with a 5.38, 10 runs, a double, 4 homers, 10 RBIs, 9 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Benji, I've been hearing a lot from the Braves fan in our league that Matt Olson should be an MVP candidate. Do you agree?
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, if there wasn't another guy on his team named Ronald Acuna, then yeah, you could probably make that argument. I mean, there's quite a few candidates. Mookie Betts is having an incredible year. Not shocking, I guess, but just another incredible year. There's a lot of great National League guys that are going to be battling for that spot. But I think when all is said and done, Ronald Acuna, that he just fills up the stat sheet in so many levels and plays great defense as well. One thing I was hearing on WFAN today that was really fascinating is the fact that the Yankees could have gotten Matt Olson a couple of years ago for either Volpe or Peraza. And I think a Yankee fan would probably say, yeah, like I would even probably let go of Volpe for that because it was such a win now team at that point. And he's exactly what you need, a left handed bat in the short porch. I think that would have worked out really well, but they believed in Rizzo, and it's not like Rizzo had a horrible year, and I think Rizzo could have possibly had a decent year this year. He started off very well if the injury and the concussion didn't happen, but yeah, I think it's just interesting how obviously hindsight is 2020, but that was a guy that was very gettable from Oakland.
Yeah, was that still the same deal like that? Oh no, it wouldn't have been during the Montas trade. That was last year. It was
No,
the
right,
Montas trade, but
exactly.
before that.
Right. So it's just like, well, they were just a little late on making a deal with Oakland, and like that was the guy that they wanted. So
Yeah. The least valuable hitter this week is Jack Suwinski, 091 with a 231 on base percentage. 2 runs, a double, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. The Cy Young is that guy. It's Dane Dunning, 13 innings, a homer, 3 walks, 18 strikeouts, a 2.77 ERA, and a 1.15. The Cy Young is the aforementioned Kyle Gibson. Benjamin, these two guys are fighting on opposite ends of the playoff bracket. If you were to believe that one of them is going to change their fortunes and bring them to the other's location, who are you going to believe is going to either fall or climb?
I think just the fact that when I look at these schedules, Adams is less favorable. Yes, he has Matt Loosee this week, but after that, it's just a challenge the rest of the way. It's that Mike Haber, Jason Ashby, and he finishes with Bobby Russo. That's how his schedule ends. So unless he can just go on an absolute tear, it's just there's just a lot of teams to jump, and anything is possible in the bigs. I refuse to predict, but yeah, Josh's schedule is just awesome. He's got me, and then it's James McCloskey, and then it's Bryan Lebo, and then it's Ari Nisman.
Yeah, that's a pretty favorable final 2 weeks at the bare minimum, and the two that he's facing in the lead up shouldn't destroy him so badly that he wouldn't be able to make up some ground in the final 2 weeks.
I don't think so, especially with the way I've been managing this as of recently, which is a good segue, Joe, when we get into my matchup here, because man, oh man, I might be in first place, but I should be running away and hiding at this point. This has been some of the most atrocious management I've done in the last month and a half. And I feel like if it's any other guy managing my team, they're doing a better job of it. So maybe I pick the guys, but my God, Joe, it just gets uglier and uglier every single day, including today against Josh Haber. It's feeling like I'm going to be the one that puts my team into a situation where they have to play in the first round.
Well, it's not looking like that right this minute as you sit on top after a 13-7 win over your brother. Now, you have done very mean things to your brother over the last few years. I know that there was the bare minimum of 15-2 in there at some point, and it's been a little brother beating up on big brother year after year recently. This week, on Sunday, nothing changed between you. You had a 13-7 and you took a 13-7 win. Close categories, you won by 3 doubles and 3 RBIs. Ari wins by the home run, 2 errors, and 3 wins. You guys tied in saves with 0. What?
Yeah, that's the one that's just frustrating on something that I can't really control, but it's just like the fact that the Padres can't get in a save situation, or the fact that the Giants couldn't find themselves in a save situation, or at the moment that they did was yesterday, they wanted to have Webb finish the game instead of just going to Duvall to close it out. And alas, they ended up blowing it and ended up winning in extra innings, and I get the win from Duvall, which I didn't need anyway. But yeah, man, the fact that I've had 2 closers and Josh Hader, he's not really a 3rd-round pick because he doesn't really play. He didn't pitch like all week. So, like, how is that helping me really? And this was the one week where I could just win saves with one. My opponent doesn't have any guys. So yes, that's one that really was out of my control. So it's just like when I see the scores and I'm like, okay, the Giants are in a save situation right now with only a couple of innings to go, and all I need to do is have the Padres get out of this inning against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Hader will be coming in a 2-run game. Nope. 4-4, no chance that he can come in for a save unless somehow they get the lead in the top, but that didn't happen. So, yeah, it was annoying.
I'm sure. Are you ready to hear your bench line?
Yeah, I'm ready. I know it's there's a lot of bombs, at least 4 of them.
There are 4 of them. You hit 23 for 78.
321.
295.
Okay.
It's at least under 300.
Yeah, it is. But when on base percentage is as close as it is, Joe, and
Mm-hmm.
there were so many decisions made throughout the week to play this guy instead of that guy all the way to Sunday. On base percentage was so gettable, and home runs was at least highable.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at this matchup, like a 14-6 at least, if not 14, 14-5,
Yeah. Yeah. For the counting stats, it was 12 runs, 5 doubles, 4 homers, 11 RBIs, 5 walks, 14 strikeouts, and whatever pitching stats you put on the bench did not play this week, according to our research here. The moves this week, you added Mark Vientos for an 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Dropped Luis Garcia for Yanni Chirinos, 5 innings, 4 bombs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 1080 and a 180 against Pittsburgh. Dropped Vientos and Chirinos for Yency Almonte, who didn't appear. Dropped that guy for Johan Rojas, 1 for 4 with a double and a strikeout. Dropped that guy for Aaron Bummer, 2 innings, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 150 and a relief appearance. And added Jesse Schultens. That's that same clown you used against me like a month ago, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
6
as the
in the
bulk
third.
reliever. Yeah.
Yeah, and now he's like their 3 starter. 6 in the third, a loss, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 426 and a 142 against Milwaukee. You dropped Oviedo for Drew Smith, who was awful. Dropped Bummer for Trevor Gott, who was serviceable. Dropped Schultens for Tovar over 4 with 2 strikeouts on the bench. Dropped Drew Smith for Julian Merriweather after the bell. It was 10 ads, 3 hitters, 2 starters, and 5 relievers. The MVP this week, who is it?
That's a good question. I guess it's Arenado.
Yeah, it is. 381 with a 409, 5 runs, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, no walks, no strikeouts, just went to work and hit the ball every single time. The least valuable hitter, Benjamin.
I would say it's probably Juan Soto.
Interesting. It's not who we have here. He said Grichuk got you the triple. We're going to
Yeah,
leave him
no,
off.
and he didn't have nearly as many plate appearances as Soto.
Mm. Soto also had a triple, but a 154 with a 154, 2 runs, 3 RBIs, and 6 strikeouts. You got 3 triples this week. Good job, Benji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only needed one, but
Who's the Cy Young?
Kenta.
It's got to be Ranger Suarez. 12 innings, did take a loss, 2 bombs, 5 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, and a 142. Kenta, 150 with an 067. Once again, we're limping to the minimum here and having a couple of streamers along the way help you get there. The Cy Young is Yanni Chirinos. We talked about him with his 4 bombs. He went again yesterday and kind of screwed over Jason on the Sunday night game. For Ari this week on his bench, he goes 12 for 41.
Thanks. 12 for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
289.
293. You almost nailed it. 7 runs. All of those would have flipped that category. 4 doubles. That would have been flippable. 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. This is one of those weeks where Ari has the large number of things on the bench, and every one of them would have been the amount to flip a category. But to actually get all of those things into the lineup is nearly impossible. So, he went to work this week against you too. Dropped Austin Gomber for Seth Brown, 1 for 3 with a double. Dropped Jake Irvin for Mark Canha, 1 for 5. He dropped Josh Young, who is going to have. Didn't he just break his arm or something? Or his wrist?
Yeah, he's been out for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. He picked up Tyler Soderstrom, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. He dropped Cutter Crawford for Dakota Hudson. 5 innings, a 540 and a 160 at Tampa with 2 bombs in the win. He dropped Zach Greinke for Luis Severino, who is still dog shit. He dropped Dakota Hudson for Reed Detmers, 2 1/3, and he was dog shit. He dropped Soderstrom for Joan Adon, who was also dog shit. He dropped dog shit for JP France. 7 innings, a win, a walk, 5 strikeouts, a 2.57 and an 0.71 against the Angels. He dropped Detmers for Tyler Anderson, who was crap against Houston. He dropped Severino for Luis Medina, who was fine in Washington. Dropped Anderson for Ken Waldichuk, who was serviceable in Washington. It was 11 ads, 3 hitters, 7 starters, and Severino. His key players this week. Who was the MVP?
Whoever had the most walks, since Ari had 26 walks, which won him on base percentage, or whoever had 2 home runs, which there were a couple of them. I'm probably going to go with Aaron Judge.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 316 with a 536 on base percentage, 5 runs, a double, the 2 homers you talked about, 2 RBIs, 9 walks with only 5 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter, I'm going to go with Ryan McMahon, 048 with a 200, a run, a double, an RBI, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. The 200 on base percentage, yeah, it's good when you hit 048 and have 4 walks, but like that guy needed to bring his bat a little bit more. The Cy Young is Aroldis Chapman, 3 innings, 3 relief appearances, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, nothing earned, and a 1 whip. The Cy Young is a whole bunch of other dudes.
One, yeah.
A whole bunch of other dudes, like everybody else. Scott Barlow, Clay Holmes, Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams had gave up 11 earned runs across 2 starts in a baseball game. 9 innings, 11 ERA. Gross. Benji, you're this close. You're this close to punching your ticket. I think you punch your ticket with 1 more win.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to count my chickens, as they say, but I feel like at least a playoff spot is imminent. The bye, it's far from me, very far. And I was just fortunate this week. Ari batted 202. So my 238 average held up. Ari had a 291 on base percentage. That was good enough to win. He couldn't even get on base 30% of the time, and I had a 286 on base. Missed that one by 5 tips. Ari had a 707 ERA and a 157 whip. Not sure if the whip was the worst, but 707 had to be the worst ERA this week. Could be the worst ERA this whole season. So, no? Okay, fine.
Last week, Bryan Lebo threw to an 836. That's the record for this season.
My point is that I was fortunate to be playing a struggling manager, and unfortunately for me, this was Aaron Judge's best week since coming back, and I called it that this guy would be back just in time to be good against me, and it cost me 2 categories. So it's absolutely frustrating. Obviously, when you look at it, it's a two-sided coin where I was very lucky and very unlucky, and it's there for the taking, man. I'm as Aaron Boone did last year. We're this close, it's right there, but it's still so far away. 4 weeks. Yes, I do get Matt Loosee. Yes, Josh Haber. He's had his ups and downs, so maybe this is the best time to get him. But I don't know, Joe. It's feeling like I'm gonna have to have a first round matchup, and if that's the case, I'll just be grateful that I'm in because this has been such an intense competitive season with so many great managers, and when you have this many over 500 to punch my ticket and be able to say that 10 guys were not as good as me this season, it's a special feeling, man, because we were all there on draft day and we were all licking our chops and loving our team. And we still had to put in all the work. Like we still had to go through the 22 weeks, that grind. Or I really felt around the time where I was facing you, and since then, I really felt just like in previous years, I'm really in the middle of a baseball season right now. Like every day, like it's just a grind, and you lose a day, and you got to just shake it off, turn the page, attack the next day. And there's been a lot of missing spots, and Sunday was no different here, Joe. And Carlos Santana, my guy, was in the lineup 4 minutes before first pitch, and I just thought to myself, this doesn't seem good. Like it does not seem like the right matchup. When you got Nathaniel Lowe there against Logan Webb, or it's Carlos Santana against who was it? It was I know it was a good pitcher.
Who were they facing?
I have to look. Bear with me.
Mm.
Here it is. Once I see who they're facing, I'll know exactly.
Mm.
The White Sox. It was Dylan Cease.
Oh yes.
And I'm thinking, oh, he could draw those walks, like on base percentage is close, but Cease had been so good lately, and I just felt like Nathaniel Lowe made more sense. But you just look at this bench, Joe. Josh Bell with a 600 on base percentage. He's been on fire. He grabs 2 walks, 3 runs, and RBI, 1 for 3. There's that home run that I needed from Carlos Santana. And you're thinking, like, dude, all I have to do is do the opposite of what my gut is, and then I win stats. And of course, Josh Bell on Wednesday, right? Or was it Thursday? I think it was Wednesday, where I'm thinking Joe is at the ballpark right now, and I got to keep playing Josh Bell at the Great American Small Park. And then I bench him. There are 2 bombs from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't stick with the plan. And I think it's decisions like this that's happened consistently throughout the season, playing these 3 hitters, Nathaniel Lowe, Carlos Santana, and Josh Bell. And Josh Bell has been hot as a firecracker as of late. And I benched him today because he was on a 7-game hitting streak, and he's against Framber Valdez. And on his first 2 at bats, it's a strikeout and an offer, and the next one's a hit, and then the 4th one's a home run. And that's on the bench today. And it's just it's happening so consistently, man. Nathaniel Lowe, it's probably the freakiest baseball player I've ever seen. It's like a 2-hit day, and then it's an 0 for 5, and then it's a 1 for 3, and then it's an 0 for 4. And yesterday, 0 for 4, and then I play him today because yesterday was an 0 for 4. It's another 0 for 4, It's just it's happening so consistently, and I don't feel like an idiot. I just feel like I'm being laughed at. Do you know what I mean? When it's
Mm-hmm.
just I hate, and I really don't mean to bring up the Oscar Mercado Tommy Pham thing, man. But it's just like I seriously, but I just want to like just remind you. It's just like what the hell is going on? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why is it that my opposite instinct is the way to
Is
go? And it's
correct.
just,
Yes.
yeah, it's I don't know, man, but like Carlos Santana, he's been my guy for so many years, but I have left so many bombs, so many now on the bench. I probably have about like five of his 13 that he has this year that I
Mm-hmm.
played. So it's getting frustrating. And yes, when I look at the schedule, getting this by, it's so gettable, but it seems so far. So I'm gonna do my damn best. But I'm pretty confident that the only path of winning a championship is getting that by. Otherwise, three in a row. For the way that I've been playing, and for this pitching staff has I mean, what are we talking about here? It's Merrill Kelly, it's Ranger Suarez, it's Kenta Maeda, it's no more Nestor, it's Miles Mikolas, who's had an awful year, and
Mm-hmm.
Waka when he comes back. Like, it's shit. It's a rotation comparatively. It's just like gotta guess who's gonna have the good day,
Mm-hmm.
and be benching the guys that I don't and find my way to the 42.
And
And
hope you can find dudes off of the waiver wire that you're throwing
that's
in there.
which is yeah, and it's happened. I've been able to kind of do that and pave the way a little bit, but not consistently. And just having Doval and just having Hater is not going to be enough. Like maybe if I have Frank in the first round, but that's it. That's
But
it,
that's what
really.
you got to
Maybe
hope
with
for.
right, yeah, and it's just not likely.
Mm-hmm.
So it's frustrating, but I have to remind myself that there are quite a few guys that wishes that they were in my spot right now, which is first place. When all is said and done, with all the mistakes that I've made, there I am in first place with 4 weeks to go, and I got to sign up for it, man. Because if you had told me that going into the season with 4 weeks to go, first place, I would have signed on the dotted line.
Oh, no
Absolutely.
doubt. No doubt. And every single one of our cohorts in this league would have done the exact same thing. Sign up for being in first place with 4 weeks to go. I don't think that if you then told them that, oh yeah, by the way, 11th place is only going to be 23 games out, that you could fit that many guys inside of one matchup. One matchup's difference is the difference between first and essentially 11th place. And
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
over 500. It's an
Yep.
insane season. It's one of the best that we've ever seen here. And we've got another 4 weeks to go. We've got one more month, and then the playoffs come. Benji, let's dive into the fourth matchup here on the evening and take off on this one. We're going to talk about James McCloskey taking a 14-6 win over Bryan Lebo and getting himself back up to 18 over 500 and right in the middle of this thing.
This probably could have been better. At one point, it was 17-3, Joe, and right in the last day, Bryan finds a way to turn doubles around, and that's the one that I noticed. I was like, wow, like he pulled off that stat, and it was so critical. It's so critical for Joe and Frank and Costas because a 17-3 finish all of a sudden puts James McCloskey in the driver's seat. So it's unfortunate for him, but it's still a double up on a team that you needed to beat up on.
Absolutely. On Sunday, you did talk about that double. James also had the errors lead, and he got one in order to tie that one. James also led in strikeouts by a pitcher, and Lebo flipped that. The close categories: James wins by 3 homers, 3 wins, 2 saves, and 3 relief appearances. Lebo wins by a double, a triple, and 4 strikeouts. They tied in those errors. For McCloskey on his bench this week, Benjamin, it is a 12 for 54.
Jeez. Uh, 219. I have no idea.
222. You almost hit it. 5 runs, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, 6 walks, and 21 strikeouts. The 9 RBIs play, and he would have needed 5 of them to tie. It just seems like, oh, wow, he had 5 RBIs on the 8th, which is a Nolan Jones 2-home run day with Anthony Santander for 3, and Ryan Mountcastle with a homer on the bench, with Ha-Sung Kim in the utility spot, 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. So those are the 2 plays that he would have had to do. Take out the leader on the Orioles in RBIs and put in the random kid in Colorado. I don't think that's happening.
No way.
No. His moves this week: he dropped Yasmani Grandal for Ryan Walker, an inning, 3 strikeouts, and 1 whip at LA. He added Michael Massey, 1 for 4 with a strikeout. He dropped Massey and added old friend Andrew Chafin for a clean relief appearance. He used 3 ads, 1 hitter, 1 reliever, and 1 opener. The most valuable hitter is, in fact, Corey Seager. 348 with a 375, 5 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter, we're going to go with Adolis Garcia, a 130 with a 259 on base percentage, 3 runs, a double, 4 walks, 11 strikeouts, with a shout out to Nolan Jones's 14 strikeouts this week. Not exactly the kind of week you would want to see, nor are you going to play him for Anthony Santander if that's the kind of week he's having. The Cy Young is Sonny Gray yet again, wherever he is. 12 innings, a win, a loss, 3 walks, 17 strikeouts, a 150 and a 1. And the Cy Young goes to Gregory Soto, ? 2 relief appearances, a 27 ERA, and a 3 whip. Gross. For Lebo on the bench, Benji, it's 2 for 11.
Uh, 188.
182. With a run, a double, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and an error. None of it plays. Good job, Bryan. Except for, not really.
Yeah.
He dropped DJ LeMahieu for Davis Schneider. What team?
Long Island Ducks.
I honestly don't even know what team this dude plays on. I don't know who Davis Schneider is. Hang on, let me find him. Toronto. Okay. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. And he dropped Trent Grisham. He added Brady Singer, 6 2/3, a win, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 405 and a 105 in Boston. Dropped Joey Votto for Brandon Belt, 1 for 4 with 2 Ks. Dropped Steven Wilson for Luis Rengifo, 2 for 5, a run, 2 doubles, and a strikeout. Dropped Michael Kelly for Jeff Hoffman, relief appearance with 2 earned runs. That's terrible. He dropped Davis Schneider for Emerson Hancock, 5 innings, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 180 and a 1. He dropped Sal Frelick for Jose Siri, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Dropped Siri for Wainwright, who was terrible. Dropped Patrick Bailey for Matt Vierling, who went 0 for 4. Dropped Wainwright for Luke Weaver, who was atrocious. And dropped Shane McClanahan, rest in peace, in his season, and probably the 2024 season if he goes for Tommy John surgery, for Kyle Freeland, who was bad against the Dodgers on Sunday. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 11 to 12 ads. His key players this week, we're going to start with Key Brian Hayes, who finally had a good week. 409 with a 435. 4 runs, a double, a triple, and 3 homers, 10 RBIs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Benintendi with a 120 and a 148. 2 runs, a double, an RBI, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. The Cy Young, is there one? I guess it's Steven Matz before he went on the IL. Or Cole Reagan's 16 strikeouts over 11 2/3. I guess that counts. The Cy Young. Okay, so Adam Wainwright is the Cy Young, and I have a note here, Bryan. Can we please stop with him now? He's just been bad, and he's probably the worst he's ever been, right?
Yeah. It's just, he's over 40 years old, and he had that great year in 2021, and you almost think that maybe that should have been the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that might have been the swan song because 878 over 15 starts. At this point, you're Madison Bumgarner, and you're worse than that. Like it's
Yeah,
worse than where Madison Bumgarner was when he
sure.
got cut.
But you know who you'd rather be him right now than Luis Severino because Wainwright's had a good career. You know, if this is the end, then so be it. The guy's got a world championship, two
Mhm.
technically, unless I don't know if you count the 2011 one because he didn't play
He
that
doesn't
year.
get a ring for that one,
No, no.
technically.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine. All right, but he gets to celebrate with his boys.
of
But
course.
Severino on a walk year. Jason said it last week. He's going to be walking off a cliff,
Mhm.
because how often do you see a guy who was a highly touted prospect who has been dominant? You saw him have dominant
Oh
years when he
yeah.
was healthy, and now he's totally healthy. And it's a damn shame that the Yankees need they need bodies, they need arms because the guy needs a mental IL stint. Like he needs to be put that's where, but you got to just keep on putting them out there because they're still technically in the race.
Mhm.
So it's unfortunate. I actually feel bad for the kid because he actually said, I feel like the worst player. I feel like the worst pitcher in the league right now. And statistically, he might be. So
Yeah.
it's ugly. And that's a guy that James McCloskey had for a while, and it was burning him enough to the point where he's like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. Like the team is doing fine without him. So logical move by James. I think any one of us would have done it, but you talk about a guy that needed to take care of business right now and did. I said in the beginning of the show, this was just a week of guys doing what they had to do, winning this week, finding a way to get a win, whether it was by 2 with Josh, whether it was by 6 with me, Frank, who had a really tight matchup with Jason. We'll get into more of that tomorrow, but everyone, they found a way. Bobby, very close matchup, found a way. You needed the
Mhm.
big win, you did it. James McCloskey needed the big win, he did it. So it was impressive to see this, Joe, like in a week where it wasn't like as much insanity as we've seen in previous weeks. It was still cool to watch like the managers that have been the best managers take care of business.
No doubt. No doubt. This has been an incredible week. It's only half reviewed, so you guys are going to have to check back tomorrow for part two. Benji, thanks so much for being here with me, man.
Pleasure as always, man. It's always great doing this with you, and I hope the guys are loving it and having as great of a time as we are.
Guys, we've got 1 month left, and then we are going to the playoffs. It's going to be a wild ride. We have 11 teams over 500, and then the fight. Any of these 16 of these 11 teams can get into the playoffs. Anything can happen in the bigs, right, Ben? Anything can happen in the bigs.
Yes. As long as you're not over 100 games under 500 with 4 weeks to go. There's not too much that can happen there. But in general, yes, when you're mathematically still in it, there's time, anything can happen in our league. That's what's
Mhm.
special about the bigs.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening, and thank you for making this league what it is. We appreciate and look forward to how this is going to write itself at the end. Until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.